Okay, I'm going to tell you about the flood that happened in Wayne County. So on August 24, 2023, I was going to my dorm for move-in day, and I live in Canton, going to Canton to Detroit, downtown Detroit. I was with my parents in the car, and my roommates Nick and Ryan, they were waiting for me. I luckily survived. I got through, I avoided all the potholes, and was able to find an efficient route, and I helped those who had trouble along the way. So basically, there was a flood that occurred where there was traffic congestion and cars were underwater, muddy, the roads were muddy. And this was because the prior night there was a huge amount of rainfall, which went into the morning. And then as a result, we had a heavy flood. And I saw a lot of towed cars, broken down cars. McNarma Terminal was shut down and people couldn't get to the airport, and the highway I-94 and I-275 was closed. And Trent Fay even confirms that most areas in Metro Detroit received between 1 to 3 inches of rain by Thursday, while others in the western part of the region saw more than 7 inches Wednesday night. And many of the residents had no power. And the Free Press confirms this, that the state's largest utilities combined reported nearly 300,000 customers without power. So DTE had 103,000. And Consumers Energy reported 194,000 combined. And from weather.gov, we see that numerous rainfalls totaled in the 3 to 5 inch range reported mostly in the 6 hour period from midnight to 6 a.m., which explains why there was floods. I heard so much rain when I was sleeping, which just gave rise to all the floods. We see here the cars are submerged, basically a pond. This shows how the effect of the flood. And now the big thing that happened, as I approached the intersection of Canton Center and Ford Road, I saw a mother with her two sons. Car was submerged in the water up to the windows. I saw her trapped inside, so I immediately helped her. I made my way into the floodwater by going around the obstacles, like the broken power lines, mud, strong currents. I had to open the door. The water pressure was keeping me from opening the door. I tried to use force to open the door, but it didn't work. I had to act quickly, even though it was submerged in the water. I could still use some sort of pry bar, and I found a branch, a tree branch that was broken. But even though I had to pick it up with all my force, I was able to use it to open the door. It was difficult, but I applied firm pressure, and eventually it opened. After the door was open, I was able to help the lady and her two boys escape. I knew we had to go somewhere safe, to higher ground, because it was flooded. And as the floodwaters were rising, there was some place that they needed to go, a shelter. We just struggled. We had to keep struggling through the mud, navigating the floodwaters. And then we finally reached the intersection of Ford Road and Canton Center Road. Sea responders took the lady and her two sons to the shelter. And I was there with her for moral support. Now, she didn't have any physical injuries, but her heart was beating rapidly, and she was treated for some bruises. But overall, she was fine. She was just traumatized. I was approached by a reporter. I declined because I was in a hurry to get to the dorm. I saw my friends, Rick and Ryan, who came. They just came. Ryan offered me to drive me back to the dorm, and we just talked about what happened. When I arrived, all the students came with welcoming me with a round of applause. I knew I did the right thing. I was content and happy. So what I learned was never give up. You just have to think. You never know what will come to you. Sometimes it's unexpected.